Hello and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. I am welcoming from Washington State the gorgeous Lisa Goldenthal, known as Lisa G. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for inviting me. I love meeting people so far away. It's like tomorrow for you today compared to Friday for me, Saturday for you. So thanks for the invitation.
No, you're welcome, Lisa. And do you know what I always say, and I didn't say this to you pre-show purposely, was that you're in the past, I'm in the future, but we're right now in the present. And it is all about being present, isn't it? Like, especially with what you do, what I'm
Absolutely.
doing. So here we are, we're both present. So I always find that a little bit fascinating, right?
True. Yeah. It's like when you can bring that to people, it's like a gift. They say presence is a gift because if you can be truly present with others, that's what they need in this like disconnected world.
Yeah, so true. And well, you're all about that, right? You're a high performance executive coach and you're host of the Whole
Yeah.
CEO. I love this Whole CEO. Through high
Yeah.
performance through high performance executive coaching, you help CEOs and senior leaders install discipline, systems, and energy management routines that sustain top performance without burnout. I am so all about that. You also publish weekly
Good.
interviews and solo episodes on leadership mindset and education, execution. I want to jump into your response to my question when I ask anyone who books in for the pod, what is their unique insight or lived experience when it comes to life, leadership, and business? Because I feel like this is going to inform a lot of our chat. And you said one of the biggest insights I've learned is that discipline will always outperform motivation. Motivation is fleeting, it
Yeah.
depends on how you feel that day, but discipline, systems, and structure create freedom. Then you said, early in my career, I thought success was about grinding harder. But after burning out, I realized true high performance is about energy management, not time management. When you protect your energy, you protect your performance. And when you protect your performance, you protect your legacy. So beautiful. That's been my mission ever
Thank
since,
you.
helping leaders chasing more and start mastering their energy so they can lead with clarity, focus, and purpose without burning out. Over to you now.
Oh, thank you. I love the starting out about the motivation because motivation can be like a mistress, shows up when it wants to, but you can't count on it. So I created the boss method that I teach because leaders don't need more motivation. They need structure and self-leadership that lasts. So it is about the daily habits and the discipline, and I can dive a little deeper into the boss method if you want to hear about that.
I would love to hear about that because I love that you're talking like all about that because motivation is such a word, isn't it? It's probably overused and we talk a lot about extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. And yet
Yes.
here you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to, for me to want to work with somebody, they would have to be intrinsically motivated because you cannot give motivation to someone else. Like somebody might hire a coach, I want to get motivated, I'm not doing the thing, but those results are not sustainable. So the boss method that I teach is like once you have the motivation, then you need systems. You need to have your goals, be crystal clear on your goals. Then you can reverse engineer them into a system so you have strategic plan. So the boss system is basically boosting your emotional intelligence so that you can lead with awareness, not ego. Because too many bosses are still micromanaging people rather than raising up better leaders. And then the optimizing energy that you mentioned, because everything is energy, so you have to protect your focus like profit. And I created that part because focus is the hardest thing as an entrepreneur. We wear so many hats. We're like, oh, maybe I should be on LinkedIn. Maybe I should be on Instagram. Maybe I should be doing actual work. So you got to have systems and optimize your energy, protect your focus like profit. So that's basically, you know what to do, you know why you want to do it, you have your goals, you have your system, and you have to maintain your energy. And then the S is for self leadership, which you have to model calm confidence. I mean, disruptive times are not going anywhere. So people are watching what you do, not what you say. So the final one would be, I would say, managing your mindset, pressure down and performance up. So all these things are coming at you all the time, but you have to be more intentional with your energy. Like, what do you want to accomplish? How do you want to lead? How do you want people to really remember you?
Yeah, I love it. It's so fascinating. And I love that you've called it the boss. What did you call it? Is it the boss model or the boss system or the boss method? The boss
Well,
method.
it's the boss method because the boss is pretty much my brand. My first book I wrote was when I was more into high performance wellness coaching. Now I'm more in high performance executive coaching. So that was the boss weight loss. And the second book that I just wrote is Boss Up and Execute. So 90 days to achieve high performance with my peak performance planner. So the boss method is just the EQ, the self leadership, optimizing the energy, managing your mindset, and I just had to create a system that works for me and it works for others.
And how did you get into high performance? You obviously crashed and burned. How did you burn out? Like when did you start to get into like decide I want to work with other people. I want to help CEOs. I want to help executives, knowing that you've got that lived experience because I think that lived experience plays a pivotal role in being able to help people because you've lived it. You've experienced, right? And so you can totally
Oh
understand
yeah.
and call people on their BS. You know what I mean? Like when they're like, no, 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 I'm doing all this, and you're
Yeah.
like, I used to be like that. I know exactly what you're up to.
That's true. I mean, I sometimes joke that I'm an emotional electrician that can help rewire leaders before they
Oh, I
short
love
circuit
that.
because I have short circuited, I have burned out, and I had to create a system that works for me and the leaders that I coach. So I started my career many years ago in fitness, health and wellness, and I've always been a coach. I've always been that motivator that inspires people to create those manageable habits that you can stack on top of each other to be successful in how you do one thing is how you do anything. So if you want to be successful in weight loss, you have to have a system. You want to be successful in emotional intelligence. Like, how do you want to handle different difficult conversations? Then I used to have struggle with that. It's like always the hardest thing. And all CEOs see themselves as the hero, but real leadership means becoming the guide. So I am that guide for others and teach them how to be that guide for their team. Because one of my clients thought his team had a motivation problem, but it was really a communication problem. So I taught him active listening, repeat what you hear, read the tone, pause before you react, and within weeks, engagement jumped up 40%.
Wow, amazing. You know, Lisa, I get this vibe from you, and I've got like almost like a sixth sense. I get this vibe from you that I could imagine if you were my coach, you would be the sort of person just with your beautiful demeanor that you would just like if someone was, like what's the word? They weren't being self-aware, you would just it's like that smiling assassin. You would just call it out in a way, but it would just be such a nice way about calling it out. Do you know what I mean? Like you would act, I could just feel like you would cut right through, get to the core of exactly
Oh
what
my gosh.
is that how you like and smiling assassin isn't the right word. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not at all, but I just
No,
feel
I am. I am a smiling
I
assassin, and
get
that
that
is the
vibe from
best
you.
thing anybody's ever called me because I've never really, I'm stealing it. I love it because I am a nice person and I'm empathetic, and at the same time, no one's hiring me to be their friend. So
No.
at the same time, I hold people to the highest level of accountability
Yeah.
to do the thing. So
Yeah.
I will be the smiling assassin on like, did you do the thing? Why didn't you do the thing? When are you going to do the thing? So basically, we all need accountability. Every January in the US and probably the rest of the world, everyone comes around and they're like, "Oh, I want to lose 10 pounds." And at the same time, that doesn't happen. So if you want your goal to be more than a wish, then you need a plan. And the missing link of accomplishing any goal, whether it be weight loss, whether it be having a more engaged team, whether it be just sustainable legacy leadership, you need a coach, you need someone to hold you accountable to do the thing. Because we all have these wild goals, but Without a coach, they're just a wish.
I agree. Yeah. Well, there you go. I've gifted you with that because yeah, I get that feeling. Can you tell us a little bit about, excuse me, your energy management routines? Like, energy is everything for me. Like, like when you've got low energy vibes, if your persona, what you get out of your day, it's all impacted and affected, right? So when you're working
Yeah,
with the CEOs and like they've got these back-to-back days of just meeting after meeting, they're running on empty essentially. You're not your
yeah,
you're not your best energetic self. Your vibe attracts your tribe is what I always say. Can you tell us a little bit about,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, managing energy and being intentional, like I talked about, is like saying no to stuff. Leaders, you're getting bombarded all the time. You're getting emails, you're getting texts, you have multiple phones, and it can be quite overwhelming, not alone, let alone that you have family and a life. So basically, the best leaders know to say no to almost everything and optimize your energy by being intentional with your work. Like for me, as someone who has focus problems, I have to be like, this hour I'm doing this, and that's the only thing I'm doing. I cannot do the other things. So I would say to be optimizing your energy, you have to have a list of what you're going to do in that day, what you're going to delete, or what you're going to delegate and
Yeah.
what you're going to do later because you cannot do all of the things.
No.
And another way to optimize your energy is to be really intentional with your morning routine. Like you have like the top 5% of all leaders are fit. So you have to have a morning routine. If you don't have 20 minutes to take care of your own health, you're not going to be able to take care of those in your charge. So you want to be a good leader, you got to optimize your energy, you got to say no to almost everything, got to manage your mindset, boost your emotional intelligence. It's that self-awareness that you talked about. That is a step one of EQ. And burnout and team drama still drain profits. So you want the calm, clarity, and not just the speed. So how are you going to get there? You got to be intentional with your energy all of the time. You go into a meeting, what do I want to accomplish? How do I want to make people feel? How do I want them to remember me?
It's so true. Yeah. I mean, even when I was telling you about my my last role I was in, which is advertising communications, I remember I used to be able to walk into that office, 150 staff, and if I was exhausted, and I didn't have the energy vibes walking through, it changed the whole entire office. I could change the office energy in a heartbeat. When I walked in, they'd be like, "Oh, Bee's not like she's tired today." Not that they would say that, but do you know what I mean? But when I was in good form, feeling energetic, my cup was full. Like the place would be buzzing, and I think that that's the thing with a CEO. You have so much energetic power and not coming from
Yes.
a place of ego, but you have so much energetic power. You can use it from a place of ego,
Yeah.
or you can use it from a place of intention, whole, leading from the inside out, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you have like 70% of execs reporting burnout, but 90% still think that they're performing at their peak, that is a gap where real coaching can transform everything. So
Yeah.
you got to be real intentional about what do you want? Why do you want it? Who's going to get you there? How are you going to hold yourself accountable?
It's so true. It's so true. I have you're going to probably think I'm a bit random, but it's just the way I think and operate and flow. And I don't think I've had this conversation or asked this question, but I'm looking at what your personal your personal brand, like you've got the red nails, you've got the red top on, you've got the red lipstick. I'm all about purple, right? So my brand is purple. I've got my purple, I haven't got it on because it's quite warm. I've got purple glasses today. I've got a bit of blue going on. And I wanted to ask you about your personal brand, your identity, right? Because I think that's super important when it comes to, a CEO, a leader as well, having that whole being authentic self. What's your, and I could be completely wrong that red's your color, but it's just like I just love your vibe and I instantly go, oh, Lisa, yes, I'm going to walk away and remember Lisa because just seeing how, your brand. What's your view
Well,
on that?
thank you.
And do you coach in that space as well in terms of like, and I'm not suggesting it's like a marketing thing, but I think it's really important that as leaders, as CEOs, we have the ability to be authentic because it's also another part of energy and how you portray yourself, how you get your team engaged as well. What's your view on that?
Well, I love that question because I am red and black and white are definitely my brand colors, and I do stay consistent with that all of the time because your brand is so much more than just your brand colors. I mean, it's that authenticity that you
Yeah.
just mentioned. It's that intentionality that we've been talking about. It's that energy we've been talking about. But so much of communication, I would say, is it 80 or 90%? I don't even know the stats are, is really nonverbal. So how do you want to show up? How do you want people to remember you? And definitely your brand identity does involve a color and what you stand for. It involves a value system. So I think your brand starts with your values, and then you can trickle down into what is the brand colors, what do those colors represent? I feel red is a power color, and I also just randomly like it.
It's so cool. Yeah, it's so true. What are you seeing as the biggest? I don't love using the word challenge, but what are you seeing as the biggest, I guess, opportunities for leaders at this point in time? Like you called it out at the start, and I could not agree more. The world is hectic. It's
Yeah.
it's it's so distracted, like complexity, like everything's going on. We're overwhelmed as a society in its entirety. What are you seeing as the biggest
Yeah.
opportunities for the leaders, the CEOs you're working with right now?
Well, I would start by saying if you're always the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room because you want to be elevating your personal growth and you don't want to be holding on too tightly and managing too tightly because you want to be that leader that people remember that help raise up other leaders. So surround yourself with people with diverse opinions so that you can grow as a company, as an organization, and ask them, what am I missing here? Like involve them in your thought process because when you have these diverse opinions and diverse teams, you can leapfrog over the other people that are like, oh no, we're all exactly the same. We all think the same. We all have the same experience. I think that's a huge gap that people need to be aware of.
Yeah, it's having that 360 feedback. And I call it feedback with positive intent as well. Like I think it goes both ways, right? It's how do you feedback, but how do you do it in a way that's has a positive intent, but it enables people to grow, to evolve. I think it's super important. What would you, from a communications, because you brought that up a few times, how like communication, what would you say are your top three like points around communication that a CEO needs to have in terms of how they're
Right.
managing team or business?
Well, I'd say some of the biggest problems I see in these disruptive times is emotional intelligence has been set back, I'd say 10 years, and people are reactive and they're trying to run a meeting rather than just shorten the meetings and get feedback from everybody. So a good way to start would be the active listening, and rather than listening to respond and react, repeat back, in a feedback loop of, so if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that this just happened. Am I right? So when you're in that feedback loop of active listening, then you're buying yourself time to respond rather than react to whatever tornado or stressor is coming at you right now, because that stress is not going anywhere. So
No.
active listening, I think, is really important because if 80 to 90% of communication is nonverbal, also too, draw people out, the people that don't talk in the meeting, is everything okay? How was your weekend? What's going on? Not in front of others, but just take time to really meet with all your direct reports, and then they'll be more engaged as team members because you cared about them. So the authenticity is important, active listening is important, and then just set up like 5-minute meetings with your team, find out how they're doing because they will remember you.
Yeah, I used to have I've told excuse me, a few people this. I used to have big connected sessions. So as managing director CEO, I had twice a week in diaries for everybody in the office or the business, I should say, blocked out 1 hour sessions with me, and if they had anyone could book a time in that hour block, and it was 15 minutes, and generally it would always be something personal that they would want to talk about, and but they could talk
Yeah,
about whatever they wanted, but it was the ability to make everyone feel like they were being heard, listened to, and could come to me. And it was amazing. It was like, sometimes it would be like I shouldn't say a psychology session, but yeah, you just learnt so much more about people and what was actually going on behind closed doors or the scenes, which then you would go, oh, that's why that's impacting that with work. And then it was like finding a way to then go, well, how do we resolve this? Because the problem's never the
yeah,
problem, is it? Like, it's never the problem.
yeah. Like if the KPIs are down, you don't know that they're having a problem at home, or
No.
they're you don't know why the numbers aren't there. So people are going to be more engaged and not quite quitting when you ask them, how are you? What's going on? Like, I see this didn't happen and you're normally that. How can I support you? What do you need? Like,
Yeah.
people are going to remember you because you noticed that they were not okay.
Yeah. And what about are you noticing a big difference with AI? Like, I mean, it's everywhere. It's like just kind of
Yes.
catapulted in 2025. From a systems
Yes. I mean,
perspective, what are you seeing and how are you working with that with, with who you're working with? Like, how's that impacting what you're doing with the leaders and the businesses?
well, AI is a tool that can 10x your productivity if you use it the right way. And at the same time, AI can't replace empathy or intuition. So
No.
it's not going to replace you unless you're have a fixed mindset, you're not open to using it. So there are so many great use cases that I help leaders with that do involve AI, even for myself personally, like we talked a little bit off camera about the the absolute how hard it is sometimes to create content, and that from the content creation standpoint, it's really made my life a
Yeah.
lot easier. So I
Collaborating.
think AI is so wonderful, and at the same time, you shouldn't worry that it's going to replace you, because in the end of the day, we want to talk to a human, but if that human is optimizing their decision making and their emails and like mindless tasks, then they can be more present with you
Yeah.
because they're using AI. It
Yeah.
frees up time.
Yeah, I agree. The presence is so, so important. I've been playing with presence, purpose, performance, because you still need your performance. Like at the end of the day, like you can't just be present and doing nothing and then have no output, no performance. It's all in encompassing. And then obviously the people piece comes into play as well. I think that's super critical. I had a question for you and it's completely slipped my mind. No, here it's come back. Active recovery. Active
Yeah,
recovery. You and I have got to like all the language, everything you're talking around, we're very similar in the way we seem to operate and do things in terms of just what you're talking about. Am the
yes,
biggest believer in active recovery. I'm a fitness, like I love being, for me, it's like meditation when I do my classes. And I just can't
yeah,
emphasize active recovery enough in people's schedules, especially CEOs. But it's not thrashing yourself
yeah.
around, it's actually being able to actively recover. Given your fitness, but
I love that.
wellness, what's your view on that? And do you set with again with the people you're working with, is that a non-negotiable in terms of as part of their schedule that you make sure that they have incorporated.
Yeah, I mean, because you and I talked before off camera about burnout, having both experienced it, like active recovery is so key. And for me, I'm way more creative when I take downtime, when I don't work on the weekends, when I've always been a fitness fanatic, so keeping myself fit is, burnout and all this drama that we're facing still drain the profits. So if you want to be 10xing your profits, you gotta take care of yourself first. Like the morning routine that I do, I'll typically, do a little meditation, do a little yoga and I can't be perfect, but if I can do that like most of the time before I look at my emails and things like that, and then just take time throughout the day to get some movement in. You can't just be focused for 3 hours straight. Something's got to give. You can't be focused for 14 hours straight. So I'd say active recovery to me is so important in getting out away from my office. Getting out up in a plane always inspires me, taking time off. And because I do that, I have so much more to give. It's like you can't lead from an empty cup. You got to fill up your cup. And what fills up my cup is taking some time off. I'll go play pickleball, I'll do the things that really fill up my cup.
I love it. I've never played pickleball. I'm so keen to do it. There's a place around the corner. It's like, yeah, but I'm not very good at hitting. Like, I've got my glasses, but I do want to try it. It's great to hear that because it's just for me, even little micro active recovery breaks, throughout your day. You met Mally Bob, my puppy, before, and he's somebody that
Oh,
he actually, if I take my phone with me and I end up like I take a call, he'll stop in his tracks and he just looks at me and he's as if to say, Mum, are you kidding? And I have to get off the phone. I quite literally, I am not allowed to use my phone because my little 21-month-old puppy, or he's not even a puppy anymore, he's just like, Mum, no. So he keeps me super present as well. Like it's quite funny, isn't it? That I think more than ever, like you say, in today's world and where it's heading, we've got to make these a priority. And it ultimately comes back to the system. Couple of last questions before you, couple, I can't speak properly. A couple of questions for you before I let you go and have your rest of your Friday afternoon. Whole, talk about WholeCEO. You've got the WholeCEO podcast.
yeah. I started that podcast during the pandemic. The pandemic was like a really hard time for me, and I had to do a hard pivot of it. You can't any longer see people in person, and everything changed. And I knew if it was hard for me, it was hard for everybody. And I completely shifted and changed everything during that time. And it ended up having obviously a huge silver lining, like everything's so much better now. But I started the podcast to help people be unstoppable. And the first, I'd say 50 people that I interviewed, I was like, how can we be unstoppable? Whether it was in health and wellness, whether it was in weight loss, whether it is in mindset, whether it's in business success, marketing, any topic really. It was about being unstoppable. And I'm passionate about doing short podcasts. My podcasts are super short and just giving people like three quick random tips on being unstoppable. So that's the whole CEO with Lisa G.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I feel like I've got some ideas around, yeah, shorter pods and just like those, like you're talking about, but who knows where it'll go. What would be one piece of advice you would give or words of wisdom any CEO that was feeling just stuck, like just stuck everywhere in all aspects of life? What would in business, in leadership, in life, just in totality, and they were feeling completely
Yeah.
disconnected, but didn't know what to do? What would be your piece of advice or words of wisdom?
Well, I would say reach out to somebody and gain clarity on where you're stuck, because we all get stuck sometimes, and stuck isn't fun. But oftentimes, when you're stuck, you're focusing on the problem, and you can't focus on the solution if you're all about the problem. Like, well, this happened 5 years ago, and that happened 6 months ago. Those things already happened. So being present is about how can I be the solution and not the problem. So I would say really think about isolating the problem and reach out for help, getting the right people to support you so that you can be all about the solution because we're present, we're always forward. Everything that already happened is in the past. So stuck comes from focusing about your problems in the past and you're creating them over and over again if you don't let them go and move on to the future. So I would say focus on what you can do because you can't focus on the solution if you're focused on the problem. And there's three solutions for every problem.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool. I'm going to take a bit of that too. Like, when I get caught up on the past or, my what happened previously, and it's like, no, no, I'm here now. Just start just one step in front of the other. Just go. Let's just go, right? Lisa, how do we find
Going
out?
forward.
Move forward. Yeah, bounce forward. How do you be more anti-fragile? Exactly. How do we find out more about you, your powerful insights? Where do we find you?
Oh, thanks, Bea, for that question. I mean, we connected through email, but I'm also on LinkedIn. Lisa G at lisagfit.com is my email. So if somebody has found me through your podcast, feel free to email me if you need coaching or support. Lisa G at lisagfit.com or highperformanceexecutivecoaching.com or LinkedIn, Lisa Goldenthal. So you could link up all of that stuff to your podcast.
Got it all. So I just like to I've got it all here. I just like to let people, I like to let the person I'm interviewing or talking, I should say talking to, just share where to find them, where to find you. So, Lisa,
Thank
what's the plans for the weekend? I love that you don't do work over the weekend. It's such a good reminder as well. Any exciting plans this weekend?
I'm literally going on vacation at 5 in the morning, so I'm just wrapping up my day
How
and my
good.
week. And I really practice what I preach on that, and I travel all the time, so I'll be very intentional and focused on working during the week. And then I'm going on holiday for 4 days. Then I come back and I have one day that I'm really intentional and focused for that day, and then I'm gone for the weekend, the following weekend. So Mexico and then Los Angeles are my next two trips.
How good. Mexico, I have not been. It's on my list. Oh my gosh, amazing. Lisa, I've really loved chatting with
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you so much. It's been a
Thanks.
real
Thanks for
joy.
having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
I
Enjoy
loved
your,
it. I really enjoyed it.
thank you. And enjoy your vacation or your 4-day break. And yeah, thank you.